It's Vincent, your Potjiekos chef. Today we're going to be making a veal buglama, which is a Georgian veal stew, and it's made out of fresh tomatoes and lots of diced chopped herbs and some onions, and it's going to be cooked very, very slowly in this potjiekos. So I'm just starting the fire now. See, I've got some charcoal going there, but also some pieces of coal. That's going to be interesting to see how that turns out. It smells really good. And we're using a size 3 potjiekos. And what I'm going to do straight after the fire is ready is spread the coals all around the pot. I've actually taken my braai right out of the braai area so that I can get around the side of the pot so that I can squeeze the coals in there to create a nice even heat, which is quite important. So we'll be checking back in about half an hour once we know exactly how this fire is going to turn out with the coal on it. So while the fire is going, I've started the chopping. So what we've got here is some basil, some sage, some chives, some oregano, some Italian parsley, then some chopped up celery sticks with the leaves, some onions, sort of coarsely diced, and then some onion rings, which are going to go in the layers in between the meat. That's roughly the size of the onion that I used to use 2 of those. And then the main ingredients, lots and lots of fresh chopped tomatoes and about 2 kilograms of veal. And that's all going to go into this pot quite soon. And I think the next stage will be to brown the meat. We're back at the fire. It's quite windy, so ignore the sound there. But you can see that I've put a bunch of charcoal around the base of the pot. And the benefit of being able to see full 360 degrees is you can find glaring holes like that. So I'm just going to grab a piece here out of my little stash, fix it up real good. There we go. Okay, so the key thing is to keep the fire going and to have a fairly constant temperature in the pot. And what you really want is for the pot to start quite hot while you're browning the meat and then gradually cool down to a simmer over time. So I think we're going to get to that point quite soon. This pot's been heating up for a while now. So the fire is hot enough now, and I've added in some of the veal and starting to brown it. So you can see that I'm just sort of letting it get nice and brown on the edges and on the outside. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to transfer it onto this bowl. I've got the other veal here, and just sort of do it in batches until it's all completely done. But it's looking really good. Okay, so the meat's all browned. What I'm going to do now is I'm going to take basically what you'd call a knob of butter, throw that into the pot, get that melted down, and then what I'm going to do is I'm going to add the onion and the celery together into the pot along with 5 or 6 rather large cloves of garlic, and I'm going to get that all going nicely together. Here I've got a handful of chopped garlic, various different sizes. I'm going to add that in there and just get it going nicely. And when the onions start to go a bit transparent, then it's time to start adding in layers of meat. And what we'll do is we'll put in a layer of meat, some salt and pepper, then tomato, and then the herbs, and then possibly repeat that process. So the onions are ready. I've put a layer of meat on top, and now what I'm going to do is I'm going to sprinkle some Mediterranean sea salt and some black peppercorns over that. You can hear the fire popping because stupidly I dropped a whole bunch of it into the charcoal, which is fun. And now I'm going to put a layer of onions on top. And these onions need to basically sit between this meat and a layer of tomato, which I'm busy. I'm going to fill that up now. So cover that with about half of the tomato. It's really not as easy filming this over a really hot fire with a phone. Trying not to burn your phone cord. Okay, so now we got the tomato in. Now I'm going to take, and I've just chopped all these herbs up. So I chopped them all up and mixed them together. I'm going to take a big handful like this and just cover it with herbs. Right? Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to cover it up with another layer of meat, and then I'm going to basically repeat the process again, and then I'm going to seal it up with a little bit of liquid and close the pot. So this is what it looks like when it's completely full. So I've got 2 layers of meat, 2 layers of tomato and herbs, and 2 layers of onion rings. And I've put salt and pepper across each different layer. And I'm just using whole peppercorns. What's quite nice is that when you bite into them, they've lost a lot of the pepperiness, but really keep the flavour at the end of the potjie. Now there's a lot of tomato in here, so it's going to generate a lot of its own liquid. So I'm just going to add a tiny little bit of water, possibly just half a glass like this. And that's just ready to get the liquids to start coming out of the tomato pieces. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to seal it up and pop the lid on the top, and I'm going to leave that keeping going like this for about an hour and a half to 2 hours. See you later. And we're back after 2.5 hours, and it should be ready now. Let's have a look inside. Oh, look at that. 5 liters of deliciousness. So you can see everything's cooked through completely. The onion's gone all soft, and you can throw in a little bit of cornstarch mix if you want to thicken it up a little bit. But that is going to be absolutely delicious.